Those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Welcome to Tap with Alana, a live radio and podcast show dedicated to celebrating young artists and sharing their passions. I'm your host, Alana Shearer, a South Florida arts advocate, media host, and creator of TAP, Turn Up Artistic Participation. The benefits of community engagement with the arts are endless. It's through creativity that we better learn to work together towards a common goal. Let's celebrate, advocate, and participate in the arts. We feature young artists every show. Catch us live every other Thursday on Boca Radio Channels 96.9, 95.3, or our Facebook live stream. Come tap with me and enjoy the show. Thank you for joining us for the premiere episode of Tap with Alana. Happy National Arts and Education Week. Welcome back to another episode of Tap with Alana. Hello everyone, happy Thursday, happy Veterans Day. I'm your host, Alana Shearer, a South Florida arts advocate and media host. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tap with Alana. Hi everyone, happy new year. Hi everyone, welcome back to another new episode. I am so excited for who we have as a guest for today's show. Welcome to another new episode of Tap with Alana. Hello everyone and happy St. Patrick's Day, and welcome back to another episode of Tap with Alana, Florida arts advocate and media host who likes to tap or turn up artistic participation. Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of Tap with Alana. Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of Tap with Alana. Hi everyone and welcome to a special edition of Tap with Alana. I'm your host, Alana Shearer, your South Florida arts advocate and media host, and wow, am I excited to bring a Tap recap special episode for today. We have had so many guests starting from our first episode back in September, and I figured what better way than to have a recap episode where we can look back at all of our featured guests, the young artists we've had on the show, from as young as 5 years old to as old as 23. We have seen some spectacular talent, some funny moments with technology, and with just some funny moments being said. But I figured today we would talk all things tap and reflect on all the journey along the way. So if you happen to know or caught my show before, Tap with Alana stands for Turn Up Artistic Participation. And while yes, I am a tap dancer and a dancer for over 20 plus years, it has always been an art form where I have been able to express myself, tap into my creativity, and has taught me many life lessons and core values along the way. And so much so that when I went off to FSU and was doing my schooling, I started up my own tap team up at school, Seminole Tap Troupe. And even while I was wrapping up my degree in hospitality, I was approached by a professor in the dance department to even go and further my education with a master's in dance. So my education just continued on. Dance has been such a huge part of my life, both on and off the stage and in the studio, and it's why I fell in love with any kind of art form. Now, the show does not just focus on tap dancing. I like to engage everyone with the arts, hence why my initiative plays in of Turn Up Artistic Participation. A few years back when I was starting that master's degree, I needed some financial help to be able to receive the degree. And someone approached me and got me involved with the Miss America organization, which I know I haven't really mentioned before on Tap with Alana. You may not think it relates to the arts, but boy does it ever because of the special talent section within the program. It is a competition that's gone on for over a century, starting as a pageant competition in Atlantic City, and it has evolved to an empowerment organization that helps young women like myself further their higher education, receive scholarship dollars, get involved with their community through service as leaders, and wow, has it been an amazing journey. But being a title holder in this organization, you get to bring in your own personal passion, and so for me, that's my involvement with the arts. Hence why I created Turn Up Artistic Participation. So I don't just focus on kids. While yes, we do here with Tap with Alana, I like to get the whole community involved. Whether you are celebrating, advocating, or participating in the arts, I encourage you to get involved in your community and see how you can get involved. So without further ado, I wanted to talk about a little bit of what I've learned throughout our guests and the variety of artists we've seen along the way. Like I've said before, we've had as young as 5 years old to as old as 23, each with their own unique passion and art form. We've had dancers and singers, musicians, everything from candle making and graphic design to martial arts and authors, creative writing. We've seen a lot of variety when it comes to our ages and art forms, but the passion is all the same, and the takeaways that are brought out of the arts are all uniquely intertwined. Now, I know if you are around the Broward County, South Florida area, it's also the last day of school today, or if you're around the Boca area, I believe it was last week. But nevertheless, as we jump into our summer season, I encourage you to look into what summer activities you can dive into relating into the arts, whether that is getting the family to go and visit your local museum, or starting a new hobby or passion, looking into a new summer camp, or maybe adult classes that are available to you. Get active, get informed. It helps tap into the creativeness that you might be needing, especially as we look into our health, whether that be physical, emotional, mental. We know the benefits the arts have when it comes to your development. And we have had quite the rocky years within the past with the arts. We have seen how during our tough times throughout society, I know that looking at post-pandemic, people heavily relied on the arts. Just in Florida alone, we have seen over $6.1 billion in lost revenue relating to the arts industry, and we've seen a 58% of unemployment for artists in our state. And those numbers are really heartening to hear, and it is my goal to help turn up our artistic participation and see those numbers rise again. So as you implore into the arts in your community, know that you are supporting everyone intertwined. You don't have to be a professional artist or see it as your career. As we've seen with all of our guests on Tap with Alana, they are all quite brilliant and passionate. And while some of them do have that career ambition that sticks with their art form, others do not. And that's okay, because you know that the life skills they are gathering are going to help them in no matter what they embark on. Now, I do have a little bit of a put together flashback reel for us to watch. It is not, before we get into it, I'll explain a little bit. Something that I make sure to ask every single one of my guests on Tap with Alana is that if they could give one piece of advice to someone who might be starting the art form they are so passionate about, what would that piece of advice be? Whether that was very specific or a very broad piece of advice, I have collected them all from our past episodes, short and long answers, and we've gathered them up for you to see. So stay tuned and let's take a look at this TAP recap.
We started our very first episode of Tap with Alana with competitive dancers Gabriella DeMoro and Talia Palmer.
It's very fun, and you won't get everything at the first try. And once you keep on practicing, you'll get it.
I would say, don't be scared to try. And once you try, you don't know what's going to happen. You could be really good at it. You could get frustrated sometimes, but keep trying. And don't be afraid to try new things.
Next was martial artist and recent black belt, Alex Rudder.
Saying, do not give up. Do not give up.
Colored pencil artist Riley Dion was on our show next.
What advice would you give to someone?
100%, I would say just keep practicing. The best thing that you could do is push past those hard pieces, the pieces that you think are going to turn out horribly. You shouldn't just throw them away when you're halfway done with them. Push through them, finish them, see what you learn from them, and continue getting better. Because I definitely have a lot of pieces where halfway through I'm like, this is not going to turn out good. I want to throw this away. But once I keep going and keep fixing my mistakes as I'm going, I definitely end up liking how it turns out. So that would definitely be my biggest piece of advice.
Caitlin Laverde spoke to us all about being a visual development artist.
I'd say to really to not be hard on yourself, but to use the world around you as inspiration. It's really hard as an artist to kind of find, yourself, but yourself is everywhere. Whatever you're inspired by is, what makes your work unique, because not everyone can be inspired by that certain thing.
Ana Carolina Muerta Frietas spoke to us all about being a photographer and videographer.
Do you have any advice for anyone who's watching who might be interested in starting photography? They might be beginners starting out. What advice would you give to them?
To keep practicing, because I think the best way to learn is to practice and analyze your photos, look what you can do best next time, try to do it again, keep doing it, and have fun.
Keep doing it and have fun. I love that.
We had the honor of listening to Blake Ogden play taps for us on Veterans Day as a trumpeter.
To someone who is starting out, maybe picking up a trumpet for the first time or debating starting an instrument, do you have any piece of advice you would give out to someone beginning?
I think you kind of just need to develop a passion, so maybe stick it out for a little bit if you're considering switching to something else. I think it does pay off.
Candle maker and kidpreneur Alejandro was able to join us from Washington, D.C.
Now, for anyone who's currently listening who is maybe thinking about starting their own business or maybe wants to be creative and try making candles themselves, do you have any advice that you would want to give out to people about starting their own business or getting involved with candle makings that you would give?
One thing is that focus on your passion and not on the money, and be an expert on your passion.
On our next episode, we had painter and kindness maker Ayel Morgenstern.
And they're maybe thinking about starting their own kindness project, or maybe they're picking up a paintbrush for their first time. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting?
I would give a few pieces of advice. First, just be you. And second thing, if you make a mistake, it's fine, because if you just do even just a stroke, it can look so elegant and beautiful and unique, because everyone else could be drawing a heart or a flower, and it would look so much different than to other people.
We then featured acrobatic dancer Sofia Fernandez.
First and foremost, I would definitely say it's fun. It's just so fun and enjoyable, for me at least. And I think that you should just try it and get yourself involved in something. And just to never be discouraged, always believe in yourself.
5-year-old drummer Gianni certainly kept me on my toes for our interview.
Gianni,
What?
if someone was listening to you about drums right now, and they maybe said, ooh, I want to play drums like Gianni, what piece of advice would you say to someone who maybe wanted to start? What would you tell them? Gianni, I think I want to start playing drums. I don't know. Should I? What would you tell them?
You need drumsticks and play.
Drumsticks and play.
And headphones.
Oh, and some headphones come in handy too?
One of my most famous guests was DJ Marley.
Well, honestly, I'm going to say it's just going to be hard at first, because it's like all this new information is just being thrown at you, and you just got to find a way to work with it. And that's how it was with me, because I remember in the beginning, I was like, what is this? I didn't know it was going to be like this. Like, I have to learn beats per minute and all of this, but you just got to think about the process. And if you get through it in the beginning, then I promise you're going to love DJing after.
Next on the show was cartoonist and animator Bailey Altbet.
What would be a piece of advice you would give them?
I would say, how do I put this? Like, for one, keep practicing, but also, it's also always good. It's always good to like get like good advice from like a bunch of different people, and like it's always good to form your own like. It's always good. And it's like good to like form your own style too.
We talked about soft and hard shoe Irish dancing with Amaya Mudloff.
A piece of advice I would give is just try to have fun.
and make a lot of friends.
Next on the show were Bollywood dancers Anya Sataria and Ashley Alex.
I would say it definitely takes patience to learn. I mean, I learned when I was disciplined through school. I was a little bit older than I say Ashley was, but you can start whenever. It's more discipline and it takes time to learn, but anybody can do it.
Ashley, do you have any piece of advice you'd also give out?
Yeah, I'd say have fun with it. I mean, when you're starting out, it can get frustrating because you might not be very good at it. But if you develop a love for this style and you practice, with time, it will come together.
We had the pleasure of listening to guitarist and musician Brighton Hefner.
I would definitely say it's all about persistence and letting yourself mess up. Like, no one is good at something the moment they try it, and if they do, they're lucky. But it took me weeks and weeks just to learn simple songs. And so it's all about taking your time and not getting too frustrated at yourself.
We then spoke with the super passionate environmentalist and author, Anya.
Well, I'd tell them to keep going with the flow of ideas and just write everything down, and that no idea is a bad idea.
On our most recent episode, we finally featured a tap dancer, Isabella Lehman.
To not give up and really try, because you're not going to get everything at first. It's hard. It looks easy, but it's hard. So if you really stick with it, you'll eventually get it, but you have to really work at it, try.
And while the art forms all vary, it seems to be the message stays around the same. Keep at it, don't give up, don't be afraid to try something new, stick it out, it's never too late to start. All of these types of messages to hear from kids from all different backgrounds, all different art forms, and all different ages is inspiring to me, my friends, and my family. It's why I implore everyone to get involved into the arts. Whether you are advocating, celebrating, or participating, there's ways that you can get involved in your community. Now, I mentioned before, the reason I started my initiative in the first place of Turn Up Artistic Participation is through my involvement with the Miss Florida organization. And I'm extremely excited to say that in just 10 days from now, I will be checking in to the Miss Florida competition held in Lakeland, Florida. I've been super excited to take my initiative and my plan of action of TAP, Turn Up Artistic Participation, with me, and I'm hoping that I could get a job promotion to be able to travel the state doing just that. But it is because of kids like all of my guests, from as energetic and bubbly as little Gianni, the drummer, who bounced on his seat and hopefully held his mic the whole time, to listening to DJ Marley and the type of experiences that she's been able to have while still doing something she loves, DJing and music producing, and is one of the few females that represent that kind of industry. All of these type of inspiring stories that bring out their love for what they do is what keeps me going, and know that what I fight for and advocate for is well worth it. So I also have some thank yous to say along the way. All of these kids do not come alone to the studios. They bring their parents, their guardians, their family, and their friends with them. And it takes a community to give that kind of support. So whether you are participating or advocating, being able to have accessible resources, or if you are someone who is talented, to be able to share that with someone else is all the more special and creates a welcoming environment to see that grow even more. I know myself, after finishing my master's degree, I now have the opportunity to teach dance up to the college level, but I still stick to my little ones at the studio. It's something that I enjoy every night, and teaching kids, you hear a lot of raw feedback sometimes along the way, but it makes it all the more enjoyable. And to see the, what I call aha moments and revelations that they have when working through their art form and their passion is really what makes it all worth it. To see those little things click, or to see over time how they grow throughout their art form. Something my mom always said was, dance teaches so much more than just dance. And I can't live that all the more through, from responsibility and teamwork to exploring your creativeness, and so many life skills that will carry you far beyond just that art form or that dance studio or that iPad or piece of technology you're using. So it's building those life skills, it's making those connections, not only for yourself, but with your friends and with others. Art just brings joy around us. Something else I would like to say thank you to is the artwork that I get to feature on my show every single week. I try to do my best to rotate the artists, but I am blessed to be in a studio that utilizes its space and its walls to use as a gallery and to be able to be a home for other artists to come, especially being post-pandemic, is something all the more special. So if you have been an artist that has been represented on my show, thank you for also being a part of Tap with Alana, because besides making it bright and beautiful, it still relates that message of to stay involved and support the arts. Well, I feel like this episode has breezed on through. I was a little nervous to do it all by myself. I love having my guests on my show, but if you are ever in need of contacting me to turn up artistic participation or get involved with Tap with Alana, feel free to reach out to my website, alanashearer.com, or to reach out to Amp Media Studios. As always, a special thank you to my family, my friends for supporting me on this Miss Florida and Tap with Alana journey, especially to Freddie and Dawn for making this all possible, as well as the entire Brew crew who rotates of running my board and my sound. I appreciate all the extra help and hands on set, whether you've been listening in to 95.3, 96.9, 1470, or catching our live stream. I hope you stay with me on this journey. I can't wait to tap my way to Miss Florida. As always, turn up artistic participation, and thank you for listening.
Welcome to Tap with Alana, a live radio and podcast show dedicated to celebrating young artists and sharing their passions. I'm your host, Alana Shearer, a South Florida arts advocate, media host, and creator of TAP, Turn Up Artistic Participation. The benefits of community engagement with the arts are endless. It's through creativity that we better learn to work together towards a common goal. Let's celebrate, advocate, and participate in the arts. We feature young artists every show. Catch us live every other Thursday on Boca Radio Channels 96.9, 95.3, or our Facebook live stream. Come tap with me